Hi everyone, and welcome to another video about video games with me, Rob, and today we're talking about Devil's Hunt. It's a new game for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and for Windows PCs as well. This is the Steam version, this is the PC version that we're talking about today. It's developed by a new developer, a new Polish developer called Layopi Games. I think I pronounced that right. They've been working on this third-person action-adventure game called Devil's Hunt for a while now, and it's published by 1C Entertainment. Now, Devil's Hunt is a bit like The Witcher in that it's based on a novel. In this case, the novel is Equilibrium by Pawel Lesniak. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a third-person action-adventure game. It starts off with this quite long introductory sequence where you take on the role of a character called Desmond. Now, we'll go more into Desmond's personal history in a bit, but during this introductory sequence, you are taught how to navigate through the levels, how to fight monsters, how to fight the boss monsters, about your powers and abilities and things like that. Then the scene shifts to the very beginning of the story, where you wake up in your bed at home, and you see awards for boxing and various things like that, and you will realise that you're late for work. You have to get ready, you have to go to the office, and you look around the house. Now, here's where I run into some problems with the game. The first problem is the graphics, and you can see the graphics on the whole are actually not bad. The environments are pretty good. You've got some interesting textures and some nice details and things like that. But if you are running a PC that is less powerful than mine, and mine isn't a powerful PC, then you may encounter some problems on the graphics if you're playing the PC version. I don't know what the graphics are like on the console. I will have a look at them and I will get back to you. Anyway, I'm going to give the graphics a buy on this because it may be that my computer isn't powerful enough to play this at full resolution, with all the high-end details and everything like that. And it may look stunning in that mode. I don't know. The second problem I have with this, though, is the walking. My God, seriously. I know that they encourage people to walk more and get more exercise and things like that, but that should be in real life, not in a game. And at the beginning of the game, when you're wanting to continue on, when you're wanting to move a bit more speedily, it doesn't let you. When you're walking through your own house, just basically looking at things, picking up your keys to go to work, stuff like that, it does not allow you to run. And that, I think, is a big problem. It's very, very frustrating, and it made me feel like quitting the game on more than one occasion because it was just so bloody frustrating. That still continues on when you get to work, and it turns out that you, Desmond, are the arrogant and somewhat narcissistic son of a rich entrepreneur who thinks you are a waste of time and a loser. And it turns out, guess what? You are. In more ways than one, as you'll find out. This is where the story gets a little bit interesting in that you basically die. You end up in hell. I'm not going to spoil the story that much. I'm not going to say how you die or anything like that. But you end up in hell, and you make a deal with Lucifer, with the devil, to get your revenge on the people who you perceive have wronged you in some way. Which is all well and good. It's a typical revenge story. And that's where it leads into all of the action stuff and everything like that. You basically navigate through hell to reach the devil and make a deal with the devil, and then you basically have to navigate through the city after you are reborn as a human, maybe? But you have certain powers and abilities, and you can harness souls, and you basically now work for the devil harnessing souls. In terms of the actual game, it's not bad. It's not a bad game at all. There's some great lighting effects, there's some great environments to explore, and the combat is, it's fisticuffs with a bit of superpowers. And that's about the long and short of it. There isn't really a lot of complexity when it comes to the actual gameplay itself. There are some mechanics that are a little bit surprising, but I wouldn't say they were new, and I wouldn't say they were particularly noteworthy, since you can see them in other games, and sometimes they are done better in other games. But that's not to say that this is a bad game. I just feel like it's a game that could have been done by anybody. I mean, the revenge plot involving the devil is kind of generic, and okay, yeah, maybe it's based on a book. That's fine, but if the book is like this, then it's kind of a generic book, I would say. It's got skills that involve fisticuffs and various things like that, and the navigation is a little bit cumbersome. Maybe I'm being unfair, maybe I'm being overly critical with Devil's Hunt, but I'm kind of tired of the generic third-person action adventure, and what I would love to see is a bit more thought going into the actual design of the game. When I say design of the game, I'm not talking about the graphics or the sound or anything like that, because you can make them look as pretty as you want, but if your story and your actual gameplay are generic as hell, then it's going to be exactly that. It's going to be a generic game. And that, I think, is where Devil's Hunt lets itself down. It has a great premise, it has some interesting ideas in terms of how it wants to approach its narrative, and it has the chance to have some really interesting characters involved. But all of that is put to one side in favour of Desmond, who really isn't a likeable character. You can market him as an anti-hero, but to be honest, I wanted to kill him as well. I would prefer if Desmond actually just stayed dead and just stayed in hell, and that was it. That would be my personal choice. But I understand for the sake of the story, he has to come back to life and then he has to make a choice. And I can understand as well, through the process of the game, you watch him grow and change and stuff like that. It's just, it feels like you're being led around by the nose, very much in the same way that you're led around by the nose in games like Infamous and Infamous 2 and other games like that. To be honest, I wanted the freedom to explore the city. I wanted the freedom to get in trouble myself. I wanted the freedom to decide who I wanted to off. Devil's Hunt would be a much more interesting game if you were on a mission from the devil, you came back to life with a purpose. Now, there was a TV show ages ago called Brimstone, in which a police officer who killed the guy who raped and murdered his wife gets sent to hell, but a number of demons have escaped from hell and the devil wants him back, and so he makes a deal with this police officer. He will return him to life, but this police officer has to hunt down these devils and return them to hell by basically shooting out their eyes. And I think that as a premise, combined with Devil's Hunt as a game, would have been far more interesting if you could basically go around the city investigating different incidents and maybe this murder here or this robbery here, and basically finding clues to locate these devils and take them out. And these devils could then be the big boss fight. And I think a game on that angle would be interesting. As it stands though, Devil's Hunt is quite generic, and yes, there are things in the game that are noteworthy, especially on the graphical end, but I feel like Layopi Games have dwelt far too much on the production side of things and ignored one of the most fundamental aspects of the game, in that it is a medium to tell a story. Let me know what you think about Devil's Hunt in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? We're always interested in finding out what everybody thinks. If you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I will see you all next time.
The one who lost his life returns to seize what has been taken from him.
What? What are you talking about? What have you done? Stop it! Stop it!